Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly achieve their goals while others struggle despite their best efforts? What's the secret that makes the difference between success and stagnation? The answer often lies in the power of habits, specifically positive habits that shape our daily actions, mindset, and ultimately, our destiny. This book is your guide to unlocking that power. You'll learn how to cultivate habits that fuel personal growth, increase productivity, and enhance your well-being. But it's not about quick fixes or dramatic overnight changes. It's about taking small, intentional steps that compound over time, gradually transforming your life. Through relatable examples, clear explanations, and practical exercises, we will explore how to build a mindset and lifestyle rooted in positive habits. Whether you're looking to boost your career, health, or relationships, this journey will empower you to harness the growth power within. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Power of a Single Step. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by a goal or dream, unsure where to start or how to make real progress? It's a feeling we've all experienced at some point, looking at a big ambition and wondering how we'll ever get there. The secret, however, is often simpler than we think. It begins with a single step. Just one small action is the key to starting your journey toward success, no matter how large or distant that goal may seem. The first step is where everything begins, and it has the power to propel you forward in ways you may never have imagined. In this chapter, we'll explore the transformative power of taking that first step, no matter how small. You don't need to have everything figured out from the start. In fact, trying to plan every detail before you begin can often lead to inaction. The real magic lies in making a commitment to start, in deciding that today is the day you will begin moving toward your dream. And from there, each subsequent step builds upon the last, leading you to growth, progress, and success. When we talk about the power of a single step, what do we mean? It's about understanding that any major change in life begins with the simplest of actions. Think about the process of learning to ride a bicycle. The first time you get on, you don't immediately know how to balance, steer, or pedal smoothly. But you take the first step, literally stepping onto the bike. The next moment, you're moving forward, even if it's just a few inches. But with every additional push of the pedal, your confidence and skill grow. Eventually, you're riding without thinking. The process is the same for any new habit or goal you want to achieve. Real-life examples abound of individuals who started with small steps and eventually achieved remarkable success. One of the most inspiring examples is that of J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series. She didn't start with a best-selling book in mind. In fact, when she first began writing, she was a single mother struggling to make ends meet. But she took one step at a time, sitting down to write, creating her world of magic and adventure. It was a small beginning that turned into a global phenomenon. The important part was that she took the first step, even when things were uncertain and her dream felt far away. Similarly, consider the journey of an entrepreneur. Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple, didn't begin with the idea of changing the entire tech industry. He began with small steps, starting Apple in his garage, working tirelessly to perfect a product, and slowly building a company. The big, world-changing impact came much later, but it all started with a single step in a small, humble space. If Jobs had waited until he had everything figured out, or if he had been afraid to take that first step, we might never have had the innovative products that have become such an integral part of our lives today. Taking that first step can be daunting, especially when we're unsure of what lies ahead. But the truth is, you don't have to see the whole path to move forward. You simply need to commit to starting, and the next step will reveal itself as you go. This idea is at the core of personal growth. You don't need to have all the answers to take action. You don't need to know how everything will turn out. What matters most is deciding to move, to try, to begin. With each small step, you create momentum. And momentum, as you'll learn, is one of the most powerful forces in the pursuit of any goal. Let's break this down into a simple exercise that will help you understand the power of a single step in your own life. Think of something you've been putting off, something you've wanted to do but haven't yet started. Maybe it's a new career goal, a personal project, or even a health-related habit. The idea of the task may seem overwhelming, and you might be unsure where to begin. Now, ask yourself, what is the smallest possible step you could take today toward that goal? It doesn't have to be a giant leap, just a tiny action that moves you in the right direction. For example, if you've been thinking about starting a fitness routine but have been too busy, your first step might be as simple as putting on your workout clothes and going for a 5-minute walk. If you want to start reading more but feel overwhelmed by the number of books you want to tackle, maybe the first step is reading just 1 page today. If you've been thinking about starting a business, your first step could be as simple as writing down one idea or creating a basic plan for what you'd like to offer. The key is to make the step small enough that it feels doable, even if it's just a small gesture toward your larger goal. Once you've identified your first step, take it. Don't overthink it. Don't wait for the perfect time or for everything to be in place. Just do it. Once you've taken that first step, you'll find that it's easier to take the next one, and the next, and so on. The fear of starting often fades once you begin. This principle applies to any area of life. Starting small can lead to big results over time. One of the most powerful aspects of taking that first step is how it builds confidence. When you act, even in small ways, you prove to yourself that you can move forward. This confidence snowballs, making it easier to keep going. Over time, what seemed impossible becomes completely achievable. The key is understanding that the beginning is always the hardest part, but once you start, everything else follows naturally. In conclusion, the power of a single step cannot be overstated. It's the spark that ignites the fire of progress. Every big accomplishment, every success story begins with one small action. The magic is in the movement, the act of getting started. So, ask yourself today, what is your first step? What tiny action can you take to move toward your goals? Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for everything to be aligned. Start now and watch as your small steps turn into meaningful progress. Now, let's put this concept into action. Think of one goal you've been hesitant to pursue. What is the smallest possible step you can take today to move toward it? How can you break the task down into something manageable and simple? Write it down and take that step. Notice how it feels to move forward, no matter how small the action. Come back to this exercise whenever you need a reminder. The first step is always the most powerful. Chapter 2. Building a foundation for change. Have you ever tried to build something, a new habit, a new routine, or a new goal, and found that it didn't stick? Maybe you started strong, filled with excitement and motivation, only to find yourself slipping back into old patterns after a few days or weeks. It's frustrating, isn't it? You know you want change, but the foundation just doesn't feel solid enough to support it. This is where the importance of building a strong foundation comes in. Without a solid base, any change, no matter how exciting, can quickly crumble. In this chapter, we'll explore how to lay the groundwork for lasting change, making sure that the new habits you want to form have the stability to endure and grow. The concept of a foundation is key when it comes to any kind of personal development. Think about building a house. The design, the materials, the color of the walls, they're all important. But none of that matters if the foundation is weak or unstable. Without a strong base, the house can't stand. Similarly, if you want to build lasting habits or make real progress toward a goal, you need to start with a firm foundation. This foundation is made up of your mindset, your environment, and the small, consistent actions you take each day. When you get these elements right, everything else falls into place. One of the first steps in building this foundation is to focus on your mindset. Change is often met with resistance, not because the goals themselves are too big, but because we've developed habits and thought patterns that don't support them. Think about a person who wants to get fit but has spent years telling themselves they aren't athletic. Or someone who dreams of starting a business but believes they're not good enough or don't have the right skills. These beliefs are the mental blocks that make building new habits difficult. They create a gap between where you are and where you want to be. To lay a solid foundation for change, you need to shift your mindset. It's about recognizing that your current way of thinking might be limiting your progress and deciding to embrace new, empowering beliefs. You don't need to wait until you feel ready or perfect. Start by believing that change is possible and that you are capable of achieving your goals, one step at a time. A growth mindset, believing that abilities and intelligence can be developed, creates the flexibility needed to navigate challenges and setbacks. Let's take the example of someone who wants to lose weight. If they approach this goal with a fixed mindset, thinking that they'll never be able to stick with it or that losing weight is too hard, they're setting themselves up for failure. But if they shift to a growth mindset, believing that they can learn to make healthier choices, that mistakes are part of the process, and that they can improve over time, they create a much stronger foundation. They're less likely to give up after one bad day or week. Instead, they'll look at setbacks as learning opportunities, not as reasons to quit. Another critical aspect of building a strong foundation is creating an environment that supports your goals. Think about the environment around you, the people, the spaces, the tools, and even the digital spaces you engage with. If you want to get healthier, it's helpful to have a kitchen stocked with nutritious food, a gym membership, or a walking buddy who supports your efforts. If you want to focus more on your career, consider how your workspace is set up. Is it conducive to productivity? Do you have the tools, resources, and time you need to succeed? Your environment plays a huge role in making success easier or harder. This concept can be seen in the habits of successful people, like Warren Buffett. One of the reasons for Buffett's incredible success isn't just his intelligence, it's his ability to create an environment where his work and focus thrive. He surrounds himself with information and people who help him grow. He chooses environments that allow him to focus on his long-term goals and avoid distractions. This doesn't mean you need a massive office or fancy tools to succeed, but it does mean being intentional about the spaces you inhabit, whether physical or digital. By carefully curating your environment to support your goals, you remove obstacles and make progress smoother. Let's consider another example. Imagine someone who wants to start a new writing habit but continues to work in a cluttered, noisy space. Every time they sit down to write, they get distracted or overwhelmed by their surroundings. If they decided to create a calm, quiet space for writing, free of distractions, they would find it much easier to get into a productive flow. This simple shift in environment makes the act of writing much easier and more enjoyable. The final piece of the foundation puzzle is consistency. It's easy to get excited about new goals, but the real challenge is showing up consistently, even when the novelty fades. Consistency is what makes habits stick. It's the difference between someone who tries to go on a crash diet for a week and someone who changes their eating habits for life. The key is to start small and build momentum. Just like the first step, consistency doesn't need to be overwhelming. In fact, it's best to begin with small, manageable actions that you can repeat every day. Over time, these small actions compound into significant progress. Take the story of a writer who wants to complete a novel. If they aim to write 5,000 words a day from the start, they may quickly burn out. But if they begin by writing 500 words a day consistently, it's much easier to keep up. As they build the habit, they may increase their word count, but the consistency remains. They are less likely to get overwhelmed or discouraged because they've started small, and the habit is already in place. So how do you begin building your own foundation for change? Start by focusing on these 3 key areas: mindset, environment, and consistency. Each one plays a crucial role in ensuring that your new habits stick. Begin by shifting your mindset to one that is open to growth and change. Next, look at your environment and make small adjustments that support your goals. Finally, commit to consistent small actions that will build momentum over time. Building a solid foundation is not about perfection. It's about setting yourself up for success by making small, intentional choices every day. Remember, foundations are built brick by brick. The more effort you put into creating a strong base, the more likely it is that your habits will grow into lasting changes. Now let's put this concept into action. Take a moment to reflect on one goal you've been working toward, or one habit you'd like to build. Consider these 3 areas: your mindset, your environment, and your consistency. Ask yourself, what limiting beliefs or thoughts do I need to shift in order to support this goal? How can I adjust my environment to make it easier for me to succeed? This could be as simple as decluttering your workspace or finding new ways to organize your time. What is one small action I can commit to consistently doing every day to move closer to my goal? Write down your reflections and take the first step in each of these areas. By doing so, you're laying a solid foundation for the change you want to create in your life. Take action today and watch as the small adjustments compound into lasting progress. Chapter 3. Shaping your mindset for growth. Have you ever felt stuck in a place where your goals seemed out of reach, no matter how hard you tried? Or perhaps you've experienced the frustration of repeating the same mistakes, as though there's an invisible barrier holding you back. If this resonates with you, it may not be a lack of effort or skill standing in your way. It may be your mindset. Your mindset is the lens through which you view the world, yourself, and your potential. It shapes how you approach challenges, setbacks, and success. In this chapter, we'll explore how shaping your mindset for growth can open new doors, empowering you to take on challenges, learn from failure, and continually improve. At its core, mindset is about the beliefs you hold, about yourself, your abilities, and your potential. These beliefs can either empower you or limit you. In fact, one of the most influential thinkers on this subject, psychologist Carol Dweck, coined the terms fixed mindset and growth mindset to describe how our beliefs about our abilities shape our approach to life. A fixed mindset assumes that our abilities are static, that we're either good at something or we're not. People with a fixed mindset tend to avoid challenges, give up easily, and see effort as fruitless. In contrast, a growth mindset is based on the belief that abilities can be developed through effort, learning, and perseverance. People with a growth mindset embrace challenges, learn from criticism, and believe that their abilities can improve over time. So how do you shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset? It starts by becoming aware of the beliefs that are limiting you. If you find yourself thinking things like, "I'm not good at this," or "I'll never be successful," you're operating from a fixed mindset. These thoughts can create a sense of helplessness and prevent you from taking the necessary steps to improve. But once you recognize these limiting beliefs, you can choose to replace them with more empowering thoughts like, "I may not be good at this yet, but I can learn," or "Every failure is a lesson in what not to do next time." Changing your mindset requires conscious effort and practice, but it's entirely possible. A growth mindset doesn't happen overnight, but by shifting your perspective little by little, you can begin to unlock new levels of potential. Let's look at a few examples of how this shift plays out in real life. Consider the story of Michael Jordan, often regarded as one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Early in his career, Jordan faced rejection. He was famously cut from his high school basketball team, but instead of giving up, he used that experience as fuel. He didn't let the failure define him. Instead, he believed he could improve with effort and practice. He worked tirelessly on his skills, learning from every setback. Jordan's success didn't come from innate talent alone. It came from his unwavering belief that he could always get better, no matter how many mistakes he made along the way. This mindset allowed him to push through the challenges and setbacks that everyone faces on the path to greatness. Another powerful example is that of Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb. Edison's journey was full of failures. In fact, it's said that he failed over 1,000 times before successfully creating the light bulb. But rather than being discouraged by his failures, Edison saw each one as a lesson. "I have not failed," he famously said. "I've just found 1,000 ways that won't work." Edison's growth mindset allowed him to persevere and ultimately change the world with his inventions. His story demonstrates that setbacks aren't the end of the road. They're simply part of the process. The key to developing a growth mindset is to view challenges and setbacks as opportunities for growth. When faced with a difficult situation, ask yourself, "What can I learn from this?" instead of, "Why is this happening to me?" Every challenge is an opportunity to improve and grow. And by shifting your focus from failure to learning, you can turn obstacles into stepping stones toward success. Another important aspect of a growth mindset is the ability to embrace effort. People with a fixed mindset often believe that effort is a sign of inadequacy, that if something requires effort, it means they're not naturally good at it. But in reality, effort is a crucial ingredient in the process of growth. The more you put in, the more you get out. For instance, if you're learning a new skill, whether it's playing an instrument, mastering a new language, or developing your career, effort is what moves you forward. The more you practice, the more you improve. Embracing this idea helps you to stay motivated even when progress feels slow. Success doesn't happen by accident. It happens through deliberate practice and effort. Let's look at the example of Serena Williams, one of the greatest tennis players of all time. Despite her immense talent, she didn't reach the top by relying on natural ability alone. She has spoken many times about the hours of practice she put in, her constant desire to improve, and her willingness to learn from both wins and losses. Serena's growth mindset helped her to continuously evolve as a player, allowing her to achieve legendary success. Her story reminds us that talent is important, but it's effort and persistence that create lasting success. A growth mindset also helps you handle criticism more effectively. People with a fixed mindset often see feedback as a personal attack, whereas those with a growth mindset view it as a valuable tool for improvement. Feedback is essential for growth, and learning to accept it with grace and a willingness to learn is one of the most powerful ways to grow. For example, if you're working on a project at work and your boss gives you constructive criticism, instead of taking it personally, you can ask yourself how you can apply that feedback to improve. By embracing feedback as a way to refine your skills, you can take your work to the next level. So, how do you begin to shift your mindset toward growth? The first step is to start paying attention to your self-talk. Whenever you face a challenge or obstacle, take note of what you're thinking. Are you telling yourself, "I can't do this," or "I'm just not good enough"? These thoughts reflect a fixed mindset. Instead, challenge yourself to reframe your thoughts. Ask, "How can I improve?" Or "What can I learn from this?" By consciously shifting your thoughts, you can begin to reshape your mindset over time. Another helpful technique is to visualize success. Picture yourself achieving your goals and focus on the effort it will take to get there. Imagine the challenges you'll face along the way, and remind yourself that each challenge is an opportunity to grow. This mindset shift can help you stay motivated and resilient in the face of setbacks. Lastly, celebrate your progress, no matter how small. A growth mindset isn't just about reaching big goals, it's about appreciating the journey and acknowledging the improvements you make along the way. Each step forward, no matter how small, is a sign of growth. By celebrating these moments, you reinforce the belief that progress is always possible. Now let's put this concept into action. Take a moment to think about a challenge you are currently facing, whether it's a personal goal, a work project, or a skill you want to develop. Now consider your mindset. Are you approaching this challenge with a growth mindset, or do you find yourself avoiding it because you believe you're not capable? Write down your thoughts, then reframe them with a growth mindset. For example, if you've been thinking, "I'm not good at this," try reframing it to, "I can improve with practice." If you've been avoiding feedback, remind yourself that criticism is an opportunity to learn and grow. Start practicing this shift every time you face a challenge, and watch as your mindset transforms your ability to overcome obstacles and achieve your goals. Chapter 4. The Power of Consistency in Achieving Your Goals. Have you ever started a project with great enthusiasm, only to find that your motivation fades after a few days or weeks? Whether it's committing to a fitness routine, building a new habit, or pursuing a long-term goal, many people struggle to maintain momentum. The key to achieving your goals isn't bursts of motivation, it's about consistency. In this chapter, we'll explore how consistent habits are one of the most powerful ways to create lasting change, and how you can use this to reach your goals, no matter how big they may seem. Consistency is often overlooked in a world that values quick results. We live in a time where success stories are highlighted by dramatic transformations, losing 50 pounds in 3 months, building $1 million business in a year, or becoming a world-renowned expert in a field. While these stories inspire, they often leave out the quiet, everyday actions that truly drive success. Real change happens not from one big push, but from small, steady actions taken day after day. Take the bamboo tree as an example. For the first 5 years of its life, a bamboo tree doesn't seem to grow at all. It spends these years building strong roots underground. But after this period, it can shoot up 90 feet in just a few weeks. This slow buildup is necessary because the tree needs strong roots to support its rapid growth. Similarly, your success may not always be immediately visible, but the small, consistent steps you take are laying the foundation for something much greater. Consistency is the practice of doing something regularly without giving up or losing focus. It's about showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it, and continuing to put in the effort. The beauty of consistency is that it compounds over time. Small actions repeated consistently can lead to big results. For example, if you commit to reading just 10 pages of a book every day, in a year, you'll have read several books. If you dedicate just 30 minutes a day to learning a new skill, after a few months, you'll see significant progress. The key is that these small steps, when done regularly, add up to big changes. J.K. Rowling's story illustrates the power of consistency. Before she became one of the world's most successful authors, she was an unemployed single mother living on welfare. She had the idea for Harry Potter in the early 1990s, but it took years of consistent effort to finish the first manuscript. She faced countless rejections from publishers, but didn't give up. Her commitment to her dream and her consistent writing ultimately led to one of the most successful book franchises of all time. Rowling didn't rely on sudden bursts of inspiration. She wrote consistently, no matter how difficult it seemed. Her persistence paid off in the end. Consistency is also essential in forming daily habits. Habits are actions we do automatically, without much thought, because we've repeated them so often. Some habits are positive, like exercising regularly or eating healthy foods, while others are negative, such as procrastination or excessive social media use. By understanding the power of consistency, you can shape your habits in ways that align with your goals and create positive change. For example, someone wanting to get fit might not expect to see results in a few weeks from intense workouts. Instead, they commit to a consistent, moderate exercise routine, like walking or stretching every day. Over time, their body becomes stronger, energy levels rise, and visible results start to appear. The key is not to push too hard at the start, but to focus on making exercise a daily habit. As consistency builds, the benefits of regular activity compound, leading to long-term success. Consistency also plays a critical role in personal and professional development. A writer might not finish a novel overnight, but by writing a set number of words each day, they steadily make progress. Whether you're building a career, learning a new skill, or improving a relationship, consistency helps you stay on track and make continual progress. It's the ability to show up each day, even when you don't feel like it, that makes the difference in the long run. Another key benefit of consistency is that it helps build momentum. Once you start taking consistent action, even small actions, it becomes easier to keep going. The effort you put in starts to feel natural and less like a struggle. At first, progress may seem slow, but as you continue, things begin to fall into place. Momentum builds, and tasks that once felt difficult will become easier. The key is to avoid giving up, even when immediate results are not visible. Think of a beginner guitarist. At first, playing a song may feel slow and challenging, but with regular practice, their skill improves, and they can tackle more complex songs. The more consistent they are, the faster their progress. Consistency turns small efforts into exponential growth. Steady practice leads to mastery, and eventually, they achieve the level of skill they once thought impossible. Of course, consistency doesn't mean blindly repeating the same actions without reflection. It's important to stay flexible and adjust your approach if necessary. Sometimes certain methods might not work as expected. In these cases, consistency means staying committed to improving and adapting your strategy. The goal is to be consistent in your efforts, not in your methods. One challenge many people face is overcoming discouragement or burnout. It's easy to feel frustrated when progress is slow or setbacks occur. But remember, consistency doesn't mean perfection. You don't need to be perfect every day. What matters is showing up, putting in the effort and staying committed. Even on tough days, when progress feels minimal, every small step is still a step forward. The power of consistency lies in its ability to create momentum, build habits, and lead to meaningful long-term results. It is the steady force that propels you forward, even when the excitement fades. When you commit to showing up every day, no matter how small the action, you create a snowball effect of positive change. Over time, these small steps will add up to significant progress toward your goals. Now think about a goal or habit you want to pursue. Identify one small action you can commit to doing every day, something manageable and doable consistently. Whether it's writing 200 words a day to finish a book, taking a 10-minute walk to get fit, or practicing a new language for 15 minutes daily, the key is consistency. It's the small daily actions that add up to big results over time. Chapter 5. Embracing Change and Overcoming Resistance. Change is inevitable. It is a constant force that shapes our lives, whether we welcome it or not. But why is it so difficult to embrace? Why do we often resist change, even when it has the potential to improve our lives? The truth is that while we know change can lead to growth, it also brings uncertainty, discomfort, and the fear of failure. In this chapter, we will explore how to overcome resistance to change and embrace the opportunities it brings. By understanding the psychology behind change and taking small, manageable steps, you can transform your mindset and make the process of change work in your favor. At its core, resistance to change is a natural human instinct. For centuries, our survival depended on predictability and routine. We sought safety and comfort in the familiar, and anything new or unknown was viewed with suspicion. In today's world, this instinct still affects us. We often resist change because it takes us out of our comfort zone and challenges the way we have always done things. The fear of the unknown, the discomfort of adapting to new situations, and the possibility of failure can make us hesitate when faced with change. However, it's important to recognize that resisting change can limit our growth. While the familiar may feel comfortable, it is in embracing change that we find new opportunities, discover hidden strengths, and unlock our true potential. Change is not always easy, but it is necessary for progress. Without change, we would remain stuck in the same place, never evolving, never learning, and never improving. Think about the story of someone who decides to change careers. They may have spent years in a stable job, but they feel unfulfilled and desire something more meaningful. Making the decision to change careers is not an easy one. It requires courage to step away from the familiar, to face the uncertainty of starting over, and to accept the possibility of failure. But many people who have made such a change look back and realize that it was one of the best decisions of their lives. They found greater purpose, more satisfaction, and a renewed sense of passion. This story highlights the fact that, while the initial resistance to change can be strong, the rewards of embracing it far outweigh the discomfort. Another example of change that many people resist is the adoption of new technology. Think of a person who has been using a traditional phone for years and is now being encouraged to switch to a smartphone. The learning curve, the need to adapt to new systems, and the fear of not being able to keep up can all cause significant resistance. Yet, once they embrace the new technology, they often find it easier, more efficient, and more enjoyable. Their initial resistance to change was based on fear and uncertainty, but once they allowed themselves to step into the unknown, they realized how much better things could be. To successfully embrace change, it's important to understand that it doesn't happen overnight. Change is a process, and it often comes with setbacks and challenges along the way. But these obstacles are not signs that change isn't working. They are a natural part of the journey. Every challenge you face while embracing change is an opportunity to grow stronger, develop resilience, and learn more about yourself. One of the most powerful ways to embrace change is by shifting your mindset. Instead of seeing change as a threat, try viewing it as an opportunity for growth. The people who succeed at embracing change are those who understand that change doesn't have to be a dramatic overhaul. It can be a series of small incremental steps that build over time. Rather than expecting perfection, focus on making progress and allow yourself to adapt and adjust as needed. The more open and flexible you are with the process of change, the easier it will become. For example, when someone decides to adopt a healthier lifestyle, the thought of completely overhauling their diet and exercise routine can feel overwhelming. But instead of making drastic changes all at once, they can start with small, manageable steps. They can begin by adding one healthy meal to their daily routine, or committing to a short walk each morning. By making these small adjustments, the process of change feels less daunting, and they start to build the habit of living a healthier life. Over time, these small changes accumulate, and before they know it, they've transformed their lifestyle without the overwhelming feeling of having to change everything at once. Another important aspect of embracing change is understanding that discomfort is part of the process. The initial stages of any change, whether it's learning a new skill, adjusting to a new routine, or stepping into a new environment, can feel uncomfortable. This discomfort is often a sign that you are growing. When you step out of your comfort zone, you stretch yourself and expand your capabilities. While this might feel challenging at first, the more you push through these uncomfortable moments, the more confident you become in your ability to navigate change. Consider someone who is learning a new language. In the beginning, the experience can feel frustrating. The words seem foreign, the grammar confusing, and progress feels slow. But with time, practice, and patience, the person begins to understand more, speak more confidently, and use the language with ease. What started as a difficult and uncomfortable experience eventually becomes an empowering and rewarding journey. The key is that the discomfort, rather than being something to avoid, is actually a necessary part of the learning and growth process. A practical way to begin embracing change in your own life is to identify one area where you feel resistance. This could be a habit you've been wanting to develop, a project you've been putting off, or a goal you've been hesitant to pursue. Acknowledge the fear or discomfort you may feel about this change. Recognize that this resistance is natural and part of the process. Once you've done that, break down the change into small, manageable steps that you can take to ease into it. Focus on progress rather than perfection, and remind yourself that every small step forward is a success. For instance, if you're thinking about starting a new fitness routine, but are intimidated by the idea of intense workouts, begin by committing to a 10-minute walk each day. Gradually increase the time and intensity as you become more comfortable. This approach reduces the pressure and allows you to experience the positive benefits of change without overwhelming yourself. Another important factor in embracing change is self-compassion. When faced with challenges or setbacks, it's easy to become frustrated or self-critical. But it's essential to treat yourself with kindness and understanding. Recognize that change is difficult for everyone and that it's okay to struggle along the way. The key is to keep moving forward, even when things don't go as planned. Change is not something to fear, but rather something to embrace. It is through change that we grow, learn, and become the best versions of ourselves. By recognizing and addressing our resistance to change, taking small, manageable steps, and maintaining a positive, growth-oriented mindset, we can turn change into an empowering and transformative experience. Now, let's put this concept into action. Think about a change you've been resisting. It could be something as simple as adopting a new habit or as significant as pursuing a career change. Write down the specific fear or discomfort that you associate with this change. Now, break this change down into smaller, less intimidating steps. What is one small action you can take today to begin embracing this change? Commit to taking that step and reflect on how you feel afterward. Did taking action help reduce the fear or discomfort? What did you learn about yourself during this process? Chapter 6: The Power of Consistency in Achieving Lasting Change. Have you ever set a goal, started strong, but then found yourself losing momentum after a few weeks or months? You're not alone. Many people experience this struggle. The excitement of a new goal is often followed by the discouragement of not seeing immediate results. However, one key factor that determines whether we succeed in achieving lasting change is consistency. In this chapter, we will explore the transformative power of consistency and how small, consistent actions can lead to big results over time. When we think of change, we often imagine grand gestures, overnight transformations, or dramatic breakthroughs. We might picture ourselves waking up one day, fully transformed, achieving everything we've ever dreamed of. But the truth is, real and lasting change doesn't happen in a single moment. It's the result of repeated, consistent efforts over time. Change, especially the kind that sticks, is a marathon, not a sprint. Consider the example of a student learning to play the piano. Initially, the student may struggle to play even a simple melody. The first few lessons might feel frustrating as they try to master basic skills. But over time, with consistent practice, the student begins to improve. Each day of practice, no matter how small the progress seems, builds on the last. Eventually, what once seemed impossible becomes easy, and the student is able to perform complex pieces with ease. The key to the student's success wasn't a sudden burst of genius or talent, but consistent practice over time. This same principle applies to every area of life. Whether you're working towards a career goal, adopting a healthier lifestyle, or building a new habit, consistency is what makes the difference between temporary success and lasting transformation. The secret to success lies not in trying to make huge leaps forward, but in showing up every day, taking small steps, and trusting that the cumulative effect of those steps will eventually lead to the results you desire. Take the example of someone trying to get fit. They may start by committing to exercising for 30 minutes every day. In the beginning, progress may seem slow. They might not see immediate changes in their body, and they may feel like giving up. However, if they stay consistent with their workouts, over time, they will notice improvements in their strength, endurance, and overall health. The key to their success isn't that they suddenly began working out harder, but that they showed up every day and made exercise a non-negotiable part of their routine. One of the reasons consistency is so powerful is that it creates momentum. Momentum is the force that keeps us moving forward even when we don't feel like it. It's the snowball effect. Once you start building, the momentum picks up, and the effort required to keep going decreases. This is why it's so important to start small and be consistent from the beginning. Even when you don't feel like doing the work, the fact that you've already established the habit of showing up makes it easier to continue. A great example of this can be found in the story of Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb. Edison is famous for his persistence and consistency. He failed thousands of times in his efforts to create a practical light bulb, but he never gave up. Each failure was just another step on the path to success. Edison's consistent work, even in the face of repeated failure, eventually led to the breakthrough that changed the world. His story is a powerful reminder that success doesn't come from instant results, but from the consistent effort and persistence to keep going, even when things aren't going as planned. Another reason consistency is so effective is that it helps to build self-discipline. When we commit to something and do it regularly, we strengthen our ability to stay focused and stay on track. This discipline spills over into other areas of our lives, making it easier to stick with our goals and create positive habits in other areas as well. By committing to daily action, no matter how small, we train ourselves to be more disciplined and more focused on what matters most. Take, for example, someone trying to write a book. The idea of writing an entire book can be overwhelming, but if the writer commits to writing a small number of words each day, even just 500 or 1,000 words, they will steadily make progress. Over time, these small daily efforts will add up, and before they know it, they'll have completed their manuscript. It's not about writing for hours every day or pushing yourself to do more than you can handle. It's about showing up consistently and doing the work, no matter how small the steps might seem at first. Consistency also builds trust in yourself. When you make a commitment to yourself and keep it, you prove to yourself that you are capable of following through. This builds confidence and reinforces the belief that you can achieve anything if you stay consistent. The more you show up for yourself, the more you believe in your ability to achieve your goals. For instance, think about someone who has set a goal to read more books. In the beginning, they might struggle to find the time or motivation to read. But if they commit to reading just 10 minutes a day, consistently, they'll eventually find themselves reading more and more. Over time, they'll develop the habit of reading, and the book they once struggled to get into will be finished. By starting small and staying consistent, they will have transformed their reading habits without overwhelming themselves. Consistency also allows for small adjustments along the way. It's important to remember that no journey to change is perfectly linear. There will be days when you feel great and others when you feel discouraged. The key is not to give up when things get tough, but to keep showing up, even on the difficult days. With consistency, you will naturally adjust and adapt, learning what works best for you along the way. The small, incremental improvements you make over time will lead to significant results. However, it's important to understand that consistency doesn't mean perfection. It's okay to miss a day or to face setbacks. The key is to not let those setbacks derail your progress. Instead, get back on track as soon as you can. It's the consistency of getting back up and continuing to try that makes all the difference. In the journey to lasting change, consistency is your greatest ally. By focusing on small, manageable actions and committing to showing up every day, you create the momentum and discipline that lead to lasting transformation. The path to success may not always be easy, but the consistency you bring to your efforts will ensure that you continue moving forward, even when faced with challenges. Remember, it's not about achieving perfection or reaching the finish line as quickly as possible. It's about the steady progress you make day by day that will ultimately lead you to your goals. Now, let's put this concept into action. Reflect on a goal you are currently working towards. It could be related to health, career, relationships, or personal growth. Break this goal down into smaller daily actions that you can take to move forward. Commit to taking one small step every day, no matter how small it may seem. At the end of each week, reflect on your progress. How does consistency help you feel more motivated and confident? What are the benefits of showing up each day, even when you don't see immediate results? How can you continue to stay consistent with your actions moving forward? Write your reflections and keep track of your progress as you continue your journey. Chapter 7. Embracing setbacks as opportunities for growth. Have you ever experienced a setback, whether it was a failed project, a lost opportunity, or a personal challenge, that made you question your progress or abilities? It's easy to feel discouraged when things don't go as planned. But what if setbacks were actually a vital part of your growth process? What if you could learn to embrace these moments not as failures, but as opportunities to strengthen your resolve, refine your strategies, and emerge even stronger? In this chapter, we'll explore the powerful idea of embracing setbacks and how shifting your perspective on these challenges can accelerate your journey toward success. Setbacks are an inevitable part of life, no matter who you are or what you're trying to achieve. Whether it's a missed deadline at work, a health issue that temporarily halts your progress, or a failed attempt at building a new habit, everyone faces obstacles along the way. The question isn't whether you will face setbacks, it's how you will respond when they happen. Will you let them stop you, or will you use them as stepping stones toward greater growth? One of the most common reasons people give up on their goals is the perception that setbacks mean failure. When things don't go according to plan, it's easy to get discouraged and feel as though you've hit a dead end. However, setbacks are not the end of the road. They are simply detours that can teach us valuable lessons, deepen our understanding, and even push us toward better strategies and new opportunities. Take the example of J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series. Before she became one of the most successful authors in history, she faced countless rejections from publishers. At one point, her manuscript was rejected by 12 different publishers. It would have been easy for her to give up, to believe that her writing wasn't good enough, or that her dreams of becoming a published author would never materialize. But instead of letting rejection define her, Rowling used each setback as an opportunity to improve. She continued to refine her story, believing in her vision despite the obstacles she faced. Eventually, her perseverance paid off, and the Harry Potter books became global bestsellers, inspiring millions of readers around the world. Rowling's story is a powerful reminder that setbacks are not a sign of failure, but an invitation to learn, adapt, and continue moving forward. Another example of someone who embraced setbacks as opportunities is Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb. Edison's famous quote, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work," reflects his mindset towards setbacks. For Edison, every failed experiment was simply a lesson that brought him one step closer to success. His unwavering belief in the power of persistence and his ability to learn from setbacks were crucial to his eventual success. Without the many failures he encountered, Edison would not have developed the innovation that changed the world. Similarly, consider the story of Michael Jordan, often considered one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Jordan didn't make his high school basketball team on his first try. Many would have seen that as a setback and given up on their dreams, but Jordan used that rejection as fuel to work even harder. He practiced relentlessly, honing his skills, and when the next opportunity came, he made the team. His ability to turn that early setback into motivation helped him achieve the legendary career he is known for today. The key takeaway from these examples is that setbacks are not a reflection of your potential or ability to succeed. Rather, they are part of the process. Every setback, no matter how discouraging it may feel at the time, contains a lesson that can propel you forward. The most successful people in history are often those who have faced the greatest setbacks and used those challenges as a means of personal growth. So how can you shift your perspective to embrace setbacks as opportunities rather than viewing them as obstacles? The first step is to understand that setbacks are temporary. They may feel frustrating or disheartening in the moment, but they don't define your entire journey. When you experience a setback, take a step back and reframe the situation. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" ask yourself, "What can I learn from this? How can I use this challenge to grow?" This mindset shift allows you to view setbacks through a lens of curiosity rather than defeat. It empowers you to look for solutions, refine your approach, and continue moving forward with a stronger sense of purpose. One effective way to reframe setbacks is to view them as part of the natural ebb and flow of progress. Success is rarely a straight line. It's full of ups and downs, twists and turns. Think of setbacks as checkpoints that give you an opportunity to assess where you are, what's working, and what needs to be adjusted. These moments of reflection can lead to new insights and breakthroughs that would not have been possible if things had gone smoothly from the beginning. For example, imagine you've been working hard to develop a new habit, like exercising regularly, but you've hit a slump. You've missed a few workouts, and now it feels like the momentum is gone. Instead of giving up and feeling discouraged, take a moment to reflect on why the setback occurred. Was it because you overcommitted and needed to adjust your schedule? Was it because you didn't feel motivated and you need to find a new source of inspiration? Understanding the cause of the setback can help you develop a plan to overcome it and get back on track. In this way, the setback becomes a tool for refining your approach rather than a reason to quit. Another important aspect of embracing setbacks is practicing self-compassion. Often, when we experience a setback, we can be our own harshest critics. We may tell ourselves that we're not good enough or that we'll never succeed, but beating yourself up for a mistake or failure only makes it harder to move forward. Instead, be kind to yourself. Recognize that setbacks are a natural part of growth and that it's okay to stumble along the way. The key is to get back up, learn from the experience, and keep moving forward. When you treat yourself with compassion, you create a more positive, resilient mindset that will help you navigate future setbacks with grace. As you move forward on your journey, remember that setbacks are not signs of weakness or failure. They are signs that you are pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone. Every time you face a setback and rise above it, you become stronger, wiser, and more capable of achieving your goals. Success is not about avoiding setbacks. It's about learning how to respond to them in a way that supports your growth and development. Now, let's put this concept into action. Think about a recent setback you've encountered in your personal or professional life. How did it make you feel at the time? Now, take a moment to reframe the situation. Instead of focusing on the disappointment, ask yourself what lessons you can learn from the experience. What could you have done differently, and how can you apply those lessons moving forward? Write down your reflections and then create a new action plan based on what you've learned. By using this setback as an opportunity for growth, you'll not only overcome the challenge, but also become more resilient and capable of handling future obstacles with confidence. Chapter 8. The Power of Consistency. Small actions lead to big results. Have you ever felt frustrated by the slow pace of progress in your life? Perhaps you've been working hard toward a goal, but the results don't seem to be coming fast enough. It's easy to become disheartened when we don't see immediate rewards for our efforts. But what if I told you that the key to achieving lasting success isn't about making giant leaps forward? It's about the small, consistent actions you take each day. In this chapter, we'll explore how consistency, not intensity, is the true secret to long-term success and personal growth. We live in a world that often celebrates instant gratification. From fast food to one-click shopping, we've grown accustomed to getting what we want right away. So when it comes to our personal development or achieving our big goals, we may expect the same kind of immediate results. But the reality is, growth doesn't happen overnight. True progress is the result of consistent effort, compounded over time. Consistency is one of the most powerful habits you can cultivate. It's about showing up every day, doing the work, and staying committed, even when you don't feel like it, and even when the results seem slow to come. The small steps you take each day may not seem significant in the moment, but over time, they add up in ways that can transform your life. Consider the example of a plant growing in a garden. If you water it every day, give it the right amount of sunlight, and take care of the soil, it will gradually begin to grow, even though the changes are barely noticeable at first. But if you stop watering it for just a few days, you may notice a decline in its health. However, if you are consistent in your care, over time, that small plant will grow into something much bigger. A beautiful flower, a tree, or a vibrant vegetable. Just like that plant, your efforts toward personal growth, or achieving any goal, require consistent nurturing. Let's look at a more tangible example. Think about a runner preparing for a marathon. If a runner were to train intensely for 1 week and then stop for the next 3, the training would have little to no effect. It's the runner who trains steadily over months, consistently putting in the work, who will be ready to cross the finish line successfully. While it's easy to admire the finish line, we must remember that the runner didn't get there by doing one major sprint. She got there by taking small, consistent steps every day. This principle is not limited to athletes. Take the story of Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors in history. Buffett is known for his consistent, long-term investment strategy. Rather than looking for short-term profits, he has always focused on making small, calculated investments over many years. He didn't try to make quick, risky gains. Instead, he built wealth slowly by consistently choosing solid investments. Buffett's approach is a reminder that consistency over time is often the most effective path to success. Another powerful example is that of an author. Every writer faces the challenge of turning a blank page into a finished manuscript. The idea of writing a book can feel overwhelming, but the writers who succeed are often the ones who approach it with consistency. They don't wait for inspiration to strike. Instead, they set aside time each day to write, no matter how much progress they make. Over weeks, months, or even years, these small daily efforts add up, and before they know it, they have completed a book. The key is that consistency helps you chip away at the bigger picture, one piece at a time. Consistency doesn't just apply to big goals. It also plays a critical role in building positive habits. When you're working to change a behavior or develop a new habit, the small actions you take every day will either help you build the habit or cause you to fall short. For example, let's say you want to develop the habit of reading more books. Instead of trying to read an entire book in one sitting, a consistent approach might be to read just 10 pages a day. At first, it may not feel like much progress, but by the end of the month, you'll have read an entire book. Over the course of a year, you could easily read 12 or more books just by committing to those 10 pages a day. The power of consistency comes from the compounding effect. The idea that small, consistent actions lead to bigger results over time. This is true for personal growth, financial success, health, and almost every area of life. When you commit to doing something regularly, your actions begin to build momentum. As time goes on, you will find yourself more confident, more skilled, and more capable, all because you showed up consistently. But how do you develop the discipline to stay consistent when motivation wanes? One of the most important things you can do is to make consistency a habit in itself. Instead of relying on motivation, which can come and go, focus on creating a routine that becomes automatic. When you make your actions a non-negotiable part of your daily routine, it takes less effort to follow through. For example, if your goal is to exercise more consistently, set a specific time each day to work out. It doesn't matter whether you feel motivated or not. Once it becomes part of your routine, you'll do it without thinking twice. The more you stick to this routine, the more natural it will become. Eventually, your consistent efforts will compound, and you will notice improvements in your health and fitness, even if the results seem small at first. Another key to consistency is setting realistic expectations. It's easy to get excited about a new goal and dive in with a lot of energy. But if you set the bar too high from the beginning, you may quickly burn out. Instead, focus on making small, achievable goals that you can consistently meet. For instance, if your goal is to write a book, don't pressure yourself to finish the entire manuscript in a month. Start by writing 500 words a day. In a few months, you will have a completed draft. By setting smaller goals and achieving them consistently, you build confidence and maintain motivation. Consistency is also about being forgiving with yourself when you slip up. Everyone has moments of weakness or times when they fall short of their goals. The important thing is to not let one mistake derail your entire effort. If you miss a day of exercise or forget to write, don't give up. Instead, get back on track the next day. Remember, the road to success isn't linear, and small setbacks are simply part of the journey. The real test is whether you can continue to show up day after day and keep pushing forward. Ultimately, consistency is what separates those who achieve their goals from those who don't. The most successful people in the world, whether they are athletes, entrepreneurs, or writers, have one thing in common. They understand the power of showing up every day and doing the work. It's the small, consistent actions that lead to massive success over time. Now, let's put this concept into action. Think about a goal you're currently working toward, or a habit you want to build. Now, consider how you can break it down into small, consistent actions. What small step can you take every day to move closer to that goal? Start by committing to this small action for a week, and then reflect on the progress you've made. How does it feel to know that you're consistently moving forward, even in small ways? How can you apply this principle of consistency to other areas of your life? Write down your plan and focus on showing up every day, no matter how small the step. Over time, these small actions will accumulate and lead you to bigger, more powerful results. Chapter 9. Building Resilience, Turning Setbacks into Strengths. Have you ever faced a challenge that seemed impossible to overcome? Perhaps it was a setback in your career, a personal failure, or an unexpected obstacle that left you feeling defeated. In those moments, it's easy to feel powerless and believe that the road ahead is too difficult to navigate. But what if I told you that setbacks are not just barriers, they are opportunities for growth? In this chapter, we will explore the power of resilience, how to bounce back from challenges, learn from failure, and turn setbacks into stepping stones toward your ultimate goals. Resilience is the ability to recover from difficulties and keep moving forward. It's the mental toughness that helps you face adversity head-on, continue when things get tough, and ultimately emerge stronger than before. Many successful people we admire didn't avoid failure, they simply learned how to handle it. What separates those who succeed from those who don't is their ability to keep going despite setbacks. Resilience is the key trait that turns obstacles into opportunities. A powerful example of resilience is Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb. Edison faced thousands of failures before he succeeded. In fact, when asked about the many failed attempts, he said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His resilience was essential to his success. Instead of viewing failure as a defeat, Edison saw it as a lesson, a necessary step in the process of invention. J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series, faced numerous rejections from publishers, financial struggles, and personal hardships before she became a global phenomenon. At one point, she was living on welfare and dealing with depression. But despite these challenges, Rowling never gave up on her dream of becoming a writer. Her resilience paid off, and her story shows us that setbacks are part of the journey to success. Perseverance can lead to extraordinary outcomes. Resilience isn't reserved for famous inventors and authors. Every day, ordinary people demonstrate resilience in their own lives. Take a small business owner, for example, who faces a major setback. Perhaps their product doesn't sell as expected, or they lose a significant client. The initial feeling of defeat is natural, but a resilient business owner doesn't give up. Instead, they analyze what went wrong, learn from their mistakes, and adjust their strategy. Over time, their business becomes more successful, not in spite of the setback, but because of how they responded to it. It's not just external challenges that require resilience. Internal struggles also play a big part. We all experience self-doubt, fear of failure, or negative thoughts that can hold us back. Resilient people acknowledge these emotions, but they don't let them control their actions. Instead, they stay focused on their goals and keep moving forward, even when they're uncertain of the outcome. Building resilience takes time and practice. It's a skill that requires a shift in mindset. The first step in developing resilience is to learn to embrace failure as part of the process. Rather than seeing failure as something to avoid or fear, resilient individuals recognize that it's often a necessary step toward success. Every time they fall, they rise again with new insights, ready to try again with a better understanding of what works. Another key aspect of resilience is maintaining a positive mindset, even when things aren't going well. This doesn't mean ignoring difficulties or pretending everything is fine. It means choosing to focus on the positives, looking for opportunities in the face of adversity. For example, if you're dealing with a tough situation at work, instead of focusing on how hard it is, you can choose to focus on what you're learning from the experience. A resilient mindset allows you to see challenges as opportunities to grow, not as insurmountable obstacles. Emotional strength is also essential to resilience. When things go wrong, it's easy to feel overwhelmed with frustration, anger, or sadness. But resilient people understand that these emotions are temporary and don't have to dictate their actions. They take a step back, breathe, and refocus on their goals. They might feel disappointed, but they don't let these emotions control them. Instead, they use them as fuel to keep moving forward. Self-care is crucial for building resilience. It's easy to neglect our well-being when life feels overwhelming, but resilience is not about pushing through without rest. It's about understanding the importance of recovery and taking steps to recharge. Whether it's getting enough sleep, eating healthy foods, exercising, or spending time with loved ones, taking care of yourself is essential to build the strength you need to face challenges. So, how can you develop resilience in your own life? The first step is to acknowledge that setbacks are a normal part of life. No one is immune to challenges. What matters most is how we respond. When faced with a setback, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this experience? This mindset shift is the foundation of resilience. By focusing on learning from failure rather than avoiding it, you can start to see setbacks as opportunities to grow stronger. Another important aspect of resilience is seeking support when needed. While resilience is about inner strength, it doesn't mean you have to face challenges alone. Reaching out to friends, family, or mentors can help provide valuable perspective and support. Sometimes just talking to someone can make all the difference in how you view a situation. Lastly, practice gratitude. In the face of adversity, it's easy to focus on what's going wrong. But taking time each day to reflect on what you're grateful for can shift your mindset. Gratitude helps build resilience by reminding you of the positive aspects of your life, even when things are difficult. It helps you stay focused on what's important and encourages you to keep going, knowing that better days are ahead. Putting resilience into action. Think about a recent setback or challenge you faced. How did you respond to it? Did you allow it to discourage you, or did you use it as an opportunity to grow? What did you learn from the experience? Write down your thoughts and consider how you can apply those lessons in the future. What small steps can you take today to build your resilience? Remember, setbacks are not the end. They're part of the journey toward becoming stronger, wiser, and more capable. Chapter 10. Embracing Change. The key to unlocking your full potential. Change is inevitable. Whether we like it or not, life is constantly evolving, and we are continually faced with new circumstances, opportunities, and challenges. Yet despite the certainty of change, many of us resist it. We cling to the familiar, fearing that change will lead to uncertainty or discomfort. But what if embracing change is actually the key to unlocking your full potential? In this chapter, we will explore how learning to welcome change, rather than fear it, can propel you forward on your journey of growth and success. At its core, embracing change means shifting your mindset from one of fear and resistance to one of openness and adaptability. Change can feel overwhelming, especially when it arrives unexpectedly or disrupts our sense of stability. It's natural to feel anxious or uncertain when faced with a new situation or a change in direction. But the truth is, change is a powerful tool for personal and professional growth. It challenges us, teaches us new things, and opens up possibilities we may not have considered before. Think about the story of Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple. Jobs was known for his relentless pursuit of innovation, but his journey was not without significant challenges. One of the most pivotal moments in his career came when he was ousted from the very company he helped build. This was a huge setback, but instead of allowing it to break him, Jobs used the experience as a catalyst for reinvention. He went on to start a new company, Next, and eventually returned to Apple, where he led the company through one of the most revolutionary periods in its history. His ability to embrace change, even in the face of personal failure, was key to his ultimate success. Jobs' story is a powerful reminder that change often brings with it the opportunity for reinvention and growth. At first, change may seem like an obstacle, but it can actually be the perfect opportunity to pivot, to learn, and to step into a new version of yourself. This mindset of seeing change as a door to new possibilities is what sets successful people apart from those who remain stuck in the status quo. One of the most significant changes we can embrace is the change in our own mindset. Our thoughts and beliefs shape how we experience the world around us, and by changing our perspective on change itself, we can begin to see it as something positive rather than something to fear. When we view change through a lens of possibility and growth, it becomes much easier to navigate life's ups and downs with resilience and optimism. Instead of worrying about what could go wrong, we begin to focus on what could go right. Take, for example, the world of technology. We live in an era where technological advancements happen at a rapid pace. New tools, apps, and platforms are constantly being developed, making it essential for individuals and businesses to stay adaptable. Many people resist learning new technology because they fear it will be too difficult, or that they will fall behind. But those who embrace these changes, who take the time to learn and adapt, often find themselves ahead of the curve, opening up new opportunities for growth and success. Consider the rise of social media. In its early days, many businesses and individuals dismissed it as a passing trend. However, those who saw social media as an opportunity to connect with others, build their brands, and share their stories found great success. Embracing this change, even when it felt uncomfortable or unfamiliar, allowed them to tap into new markets and audiences. In the same way, when you embrace change in your own life, whether it's in your career, relationships, or personal growth, you open yourself up to new opportunities that you may have otherwise missed. Embracing change isn't just about adapting to external circumstances, it's also about the willingness to change ourselves. Often, the greatest source of resistance to change comes from within. We may feel comfortable in our current routines, habits, or ways of thinking, and the idea of changing can feel overwhelming. But personal growth requires us to evolve, to shed old patterns and adopt new ones. This may involve letting go of limiting beliefs, stepping out of our comfort zones, or adopting new habits that will serve us better in the future. A great example of this type of personal change can be seen in the story of Michelle Obama. Before becoming First Lady, she was a successful lawyer, but she felt unfulfilled and wanted to make a greater impact in her community. The decision to leave her established career and pursue a different path was not easy, but it ultimately allowed her to grow into the powerful advocate for education, health, and equality that she is today. Her ability to embrace change in her personal and professional life opened up a world of new possibilities, not just for herself, but for the millions of people she has inspired. Change also requires us to embrace uncertainty. When we step into the unknown, we often don't have all the answers or a clear roadmap for success. This can be unsettling, but it's important to remember that growth rarely happens in the comfort zone. Every successful person has faced moments of uncertainty and fear, but it's their ability to take action in the face of uncertainty that has led them to success. In fact, many of the most innovative and impactful ideas come from moments of uncertainty, when we're forced to think outside the box and find new solutions. This is where the power of a growth mindset comes in. People with a growth mindset believe that their abilities and intelligence can be developed through hard work, perseverance, and learning. They embrace challenges, persist through setbacks, and see failure as an opportunity to improve. A growth mindset encourages us to see change not as a threat, but as a chance to grow, learn, and evolve. By adopting this mindset, we can approach change with enthusiasm rather than fear, knowing that every experience, whether good or bad, contributes to our growth. Let's also consider how embracing change impacts our relationships. In both personal and professional life, change is inevitable. People grow, evolve, and sometimes drift apart. However, it's often through these changes that we gain new perspectives, deepen our understanding of others, and form stronger bonds. The key is to approach these changes with an open heart and mind, willing to embrace the shifts that occur naturally in our connections with others. Another important aspect of embracing change is learning to adapt to the ever-changing world around us. We can't control everything in our lives, but we can control how we respond to the changes that come our way. By cultivating a mindset of adaptability, we can navigate even the most challenging circumstances with grace and confidence. Whether it's adjusting to a new job, moving to a new city, or handling unexpected life events, our ability to embrace change with resilience and optimism will determine how we thrive in the face of uncertainty. Finally, it's important to remember that embracing change is not a one-time event. It's an ongoing process. Life is constantly evolving, and we must continue to adapt and grow throughout our lives. Change doesn't happen all at once. It's a series of small adjustments that, over time, lead to significant transformation. Each time you embrace change, whether big or small, you strengthen your ability to navigate future changes with ease and confidence. Now, let's put this concept into action. Reflect on a recent change in your life, whether it was something big or small. How did you respond to it? Did you resist it, or did you approach it with curiosity and an open mind? Now, think about a future change that you might face. How can you embrace it with a positive mindset? What steps can you take today to prepare yourself for the changes that are yet to come? Consider writing down your thoughts and intentions and commit to seeing change as an opportunity for growth rather than something to fear. By shifting your perspective, you can unlock your full potential and move forward with confidence into the next chapter of your life. Conclusion: congratulations on completing this journey through Growth Power, Empower Life with Positive Habits. Throughout this book, we've explored how adopting positive habits, embracing change, and cultivating a mindset of growth can unlock your full potential and lead to a more fulfilling life. From the power of consistent daily actions to the importance of resilience in the face of change, you now have the tools to transform both your mindset and your habits, creating lasting positive change in your personal and professional life. Remember, growth is a journey, not a destination. Keep applying the concepts we've discussed, stay open to new opportunities, and continue pushing yourself to evolve. Thank you for taking the time to engage with this book. Your commitment to growth is truly inspiring. If you enjoyed this content, please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your feedback helps me create more valuable content for you. Stay empowered.